So I noticed that a lot of objectivists get really riled up whenever the topic of regulating the internet comes up. Regulating big tech, social media, and all of that. Now, in many cases, um, you know, the fact that objectivists get really upset about this issue is understandable. I get upset myself. I have debated conservatives and you know other people who wish to regulate these companies, and I understand the need to rally to the cause and advocate for property rights and explain how these companies are great, they're productive, they're innovative, they are to be on the side of technology and all of that. However, I do think that the main issue here, the essential, is being ignored, and I would say even to an extent, even evaded by objectivists. And again, I mean, this is just from objectivists that I know, that I follow, and that I listen to. So there's a question. So why do people want to regulate these companies? And I'm not asking this in a broad sense. So you can say, yeah, everyone is a statist, and people are just emotional. They want someone else's property because that's just the culture that we live in. We're anti-capitalists today. But I mean, in simpler terms, like why, like what is the issue here? Why do people want to regulate Facebook and Twitter and all of that? Well, it's because these companies have engaged in policies that ban people for their opinions, for their ideas. I mean, this is the issue here. This is the topic of discussion. And what objectivists do is that, they say, well, they have a right to ban by whatever standard they want, these companies. Now, in the political sense, in the legal sense, that's true. I'm not going to go into that. I mean, myself, I wrote a fairly long article, like more than 2,000 words about this, but in Hebrew. I went through section 230, and I laid out this philosophical view of the internet, saying that it's virtual space. That's why you cannot trying to compare these websites to publishers is just dishonest. And I went through all of that in my article, and other objectivists have talked about this, and I don't think so I don't think this I need to repeat that here. But the essential question here is, I mean, let's put the politics aside, okay? Let's put their rights aside. Let's talk about ethics, okay? So the ethical question is, should these companies ban people on the basis of their ideas? Okay, should these companies ban people based on their opinions? And the answer is unequivocally no. They should not. They should not engage in that course of action. Now, why is that? The purpose of companies, okay, of business, is to make profit. Okay? That's it. Like, that's their primary goal. That's their main goal. That's the fundamental of a business, the fundamentals of a business. They should want as many customers as possible, okay? Because these companies should want to make as much profit as possible. So they should have everybody on. They should have fascists, they should have Nazis, they should have communists, they should have Holocaust deniers, conspiracy theorists, flat earthers. They should have everyone on their platform, and they don't need to give a damn about their opinions and what they believe in. Okay, they provide a service, which is a social platform service, and they should want as many people to go on their platforms. Okay, that should be their business. Their business goal, their business, their premises to their principle to act as a business. Because if they don't have people on their, if those groups are not on their platform, then they'll go on other platforms, and they don't want to lose customers. And I mean, this is how every business operates. This is how a rational business operates. I mean, my case is, just to make clear, my case is not, I'm not making a free speech case, okay? This is not about free speech, not one iota. This is about being a business, acting rational, and wanting to make the most profit. Now, when I thought about this issue, so one could say, well, why is profit the primary motive here? I mean, as an individual, when you start your own business, you don't necessarily look at profit as the utmost goal. Like, you may, for example, decline to compromise on your vision or on your quality of your product or of your services, even if you know that that will, at least in the short term, make you less profits. And that's the key here. So it's short term. In the long term, you realize that the more integrity you have in your business, the more you are true to your actual vision, that will lead you to making most money. So if one would say, well, look, these companies, they may have these values. So they may value, they may be leaning towards the left and they hate conspiracy theorists. So why shouldn't they ban these people? Isn't that staying true, to their vision and to their values? And my answer is no, because at the end of the day, these companies, they sell, they don't sell, they give it to you for free, but their service is a social media service, okay? It's like, should a banker now, ban conspiracy theorists from depositing money in his bank? I mean, that's ridiculous. No banker should care what opinions, his customers have. He just wants their money to put in his bank. And if he has, if he hates conspiracy theorists and if he hates Nazis, so he doesn't need to engage with them in his personal life. But when it comes to his business, he will want their money. Just like when it comes to Facebook, they will want these people to come on their platforms. But that's not what's happening here. Okay, these companies are acting in an irrational way. They're acting against their own good, against their selfish, long-term, rational goal of making profits. Ayn Rand, even though probably no one in history defended businessmen more than she did, she was very critical of businessmen. She said, you guys are embracing altruism. You are empowering the people that seek to destroy you. Okay, that's what she told businessmen. She was very critical, even though she lauded them. She I mean, no one defended businessmen more than Ayn Rand. So, but that did not mean that does not mean that she could not criticize these businessmen. And now, what the tech companies are doing is exactly that. They're empowering the people who want to destroy them. So, even if you think about just the idea of who to ban and who not to ban, you have, I don't know, conspiracy theorist groups. You have like people like Alex Jones. They go on Facebook or YouTube or whatever, and then these companies, they see, wow, this person is growing. Like his following is growing, and we are giving him the platform. Like we are the ones who are making it possible for him. But that is not true. Okay, the reason that these people are growing with influence is because of our, the state of the culture. So intellectually, we're bankrupt, and everybody's irrational, and people are more emotional. So obviously, they will be attracted. They'll find someone like Alex Jones appealing, and the fact that these tech companies, they're banning people without any rational, objective standards, which basically means that they're banning people based on whims and their own emotions, is just giving this cultural phenomenon more power. So, I mean, when you're okay with racial egalitarianism, okay, when you're okay with groups like Black Lives Matter, and when when these people attack, I don't know, whites or white men or whatever, then obviously white groups that racist white supremacists on your platforms, they will gain popularity just as the groups from the left gain popularity. So it is not that the platform of Facebook makes them popular. It's the fact that culturally and intellectually we've come to this place where things are really bad. And when things are really bad, when people are irrational, they will embrace really bad ideas. And so Facebook, they're thinking, okay, so we'll ban them, and then they will just go away. But obviously, that's not going to happen. Maybe in the short term, their influence will wane. But long term, they'll find another platform. There will be Parler, there will be other platforms, whatever. And they will be able to speak their minds there. Unless the government comes in and starts regulating the internet, and then it will be real censorship. But the thing that we need to understand is that these companies, their method of thinking is the same like the politicians' method of thinking. So while what they're doing is not real censorship, it is a mindset of censorship. It is a mindset of, I cannot deal with your arguments. I'm emotional. I'm whimsical. I fear you. Okay? I fear your arguments. I get upset by your arguments. I'm insecure about my own convictions, about my own beliefs, my own ideology and set of values. Therefore, I will just excommunicate you. Okay? In the Middle Ages, they used to do that to Jews. So if any Jew would criticize the orthodoxy or question it in some form, like Baruch Spinoza comes to mind, then they would excommunicate him. And in those days, I mean, that was a big deal. You could be, because Christians wouldn't accept you, and then if you don't have your Jewish community, you'd basically be left out alone without being able to engage with people. So many times that meant your actual death. Now, that obviously did not happen with Spinoza. I don't know how he faced that situation, but the point here that I'm making is that we are headed towards that sort of culture where, it's just so tribal. People will not engage. Like, the next step would be, you can't put your money in my bank, and you can't eat in my diner because, I don't like you because you're black, or because you're white, or because you're a man, or because you're a Trump supporter, or whatever. And the rational thing to do in this instance is just to back up and say, okay, I am accepting everybody. Everybody is accepted to my business. Now, and just so you don't conflate, like, I'm not saying, invite these people to your home. I'm not saying you don't have to be friends with anybody. So this is not like, if you had your own newspaper, your own magazine, where you want to advocate for a particular set of ideas. There, yes, you have to discriminate, because that's the whole point of your newspaper or ideological group or organization or whatever. But when it comes to just business, where you just sell products to people or services, then yeah, you need to. Then ideas are irrelevant. They're irrelevant in that sphere. You can discriminate on other factors. I don't remember if I said this already, but you can discriminate. If you want to have nice people, you want nice behavior in your business. So Facebook can say, you cannot curse, or you can make all these things to make it a more friendly business environment, and that's fine. So that will just make your product better in the long term. But what we are seeing today is just it is a culture of censorship. We are witnessing a culture that cannot withstand other ideas. We're seeing a culture of the consensus. Whoever is not in the consensus is dangerous, okay? Is dangerous to our group, or is dangerous to the nation, or dangerous to whatever it is. So I hope I was fairly articulate and coherent in this video. I probably could have done it better, but these are my thoughts. I would like to know what you guys are thinking, because I've seen so many objectivists kind of really not think about this through till the end, like saying, if I had my own company, I think I heard Yaron Brooks say this, if I had Facebook, I wouldn't want Alex Jones on my platform. Well, no, that's not true. You should want Alex Jones on your platform. I mean, not want like you shouldn't care about Alex Jones, but the point is, you shouldn't care who is on your platform. You should want everybody on your platform. Just like if you were, a hedge fund company, if you had a hedge fund company, you'd want money from any person, that is the rational way for businesses to conduct themselves. And the fact that businesses do not do that it only highlights how low the culture has sunk, and how the actual threat of civil war, or just, I don't know, decimation, or the disintegration of the nation and of Western culture is just unfolding before our eyes. Anyway, I'd like to hear your thoughts about this. And I think this is a very very important issue that objectivists are not hitting this on the nail, you know? Yes, like I said, we should advocate for the company's property rights. We should say, we should fight against the regulations, but you cannot just put the ethical debate aside and just, not talk about it, because it's more important than the regulation story, because it starts with the culture, it starts with ideas, and only then it reaches the regulation stage. That's the last phase, that's the last step in this process. And if you want to just put out fires every day, all day, that's fine, but you're just you are making more work for yourself, because you'll just continue to try and put out fires. You need to go to the root cause and advocate for these businesses to act rationally and have everyone on their platform. Who cares if you have Alex Jones and these people? I mean, just one last point. If you're a customer of Facebook, if you just put your own account, you don't have to engage with Alex Jones. You don't have to engage with, white supremacists, or you don't have to engage with social justice warriors. You can just, there's so many ways that Facebook can offer a platform for anyone that will bypass all of these, people that you don't want to engage with. So anyway, I think you get my point. I'll end here, and let's hear from you what you have to say.